In this unit, we will look at business ethics and social responsibility. Let's go ahead and start by looking at business ethics. First and foremost, ethics is our own set of beliefs or moral principles that help us to define what we believe is right and wrong. Ethical behavior is just behavior that follows these beliefs and principles of what we believe to be right and wrong. There are some universal ethical standards, which are some ethical norms that apply to people across a variety of situations. When we apply these concepts to business, we call this business ethics. There are 6 universal ethical standards, including trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. Ethics is influenced by the individual, including a person's personal needs, the family situation, how they grew up, where they grew up, their culture, their religion, their friends, basic personality traits that help to define who we are. However, a recent study did find that business leaders that are highly empathetic are more likely to exhibit high levels of ethical leadership. So, because ethics is influenced by individual characteristics, it is almost impossible for one or for two people to have the exact same ethical standards. And that's why it gets to be kind of a fuzzy concept. And when we apply it, becomes a little bit more difficult. But there are things we can do to help influence the ethical conduct of an organization and its employees. Part of this is establishing and maintaining a strong ethical culture, and we'll talk about ways to do this in the next slide. And also having a formal code of ethics, which is really just a written document that tells employees the necessary information they need to make what that organization deems to be ethical decisions within a variety of contexts and situations. So how do we make ethical decisions in an organization? Well, this can be done by hiring people that have the same ethical values. Again, establishing and enforcing a code of ethics. So not just having it, but really abiding by it and enforcing it when people don't abide by it. Providing training on how to be more ethical. Everybody can learn new concepts, and it doesn't mean that everybody will still have the same ethical belief system, but at least as an organization, you can have some agreement on what is the correct ethical steps to take. One of the best things that can be done is when managers lead by example and to have ethical leaders. And these managers should also be active in ethics programs, as well as setting up programs for ethical behavior. And then lastly, creating and reporting a system to protect whistleblowers. I'm sure you've heard the concept, but a whistleblower is an employee who reports illegal or unethical behavior. And sometimes this is looked upon negative, but in reality, this is how a company is going to know if unethical behavior is happening and allow them to change it. And so you really need to have an anonymous reporting system and then protect these people who do step up and call out this unethical behavior. So let's move on to social responsibility. Social responsibility takes 2 different models. One is the shareholder model, where an organization's main goal is to maximize the profit for shareholders. And the second model is the stakeholder model, whereby an organization's goal is long-term survival and sustainability. And this is achieved by looking at the various stakeholders, including employees, customers, investors, the community, and the environment. So some good social responsibility practices. One, a business shouldn't engage in planned obsolescence. And this really just happens when a company designs products poorly, knowing that they're going to fail within a short period of time so people have to buy them again. Obviously, companies should adhere to legal requirements such as Sarbanes-Oxley, which really came out of some major issues in accounting practices, unethical behaviors in accounting practices. Companies can participate in philanthropy by making donations or doing cause marketing. Cause marketing is when you support a cause in hopes to have people, your customers, in hopes to have your customers also have an interest in that cause and then want to also buy your products and services because you have similar beliefs. So an example of this is, I'm sure many of you have heard of Dawn dish soap. Not only is Dawn great at getting out the grease, but they also have a social philanthropy piece where they donate to help clean up wild animals that were affected by oil spills. And I'm sure you probably have seen those ads here and there. There's also corporate responsibility, and this is contributing to social causes through actions rather than just donations of time or money or resources. So, for example, a lot of companies are now giving their employees X number of hours a week to volunteer so that they can make a difference in their communities. Environmental sustainability is huge right now. This is really trying to protect the environment through our business practices. A company that is pretty well known for this is Patagonia. And if you go to their website, you can see that they actually have a way to track their carbon footprint. And then global social responsibility. So being socially responsible when doing business worldwide. This can look really different because um, the ethical standards and the social norms in every country are different. And so this can be challenging because of bribery and corruption, depending on the country you're in, where there are countries where it is very acceptable to um, for bribery to occur. But one way to overcome this is to have a code of conduct for global vendors that aligns with your company's code of conduct. And it's also important to monitor and control ethics and social responsibility initiatives. So this is usually done through self-monitoring, either through a social audit, which tells a firm how well they're meeting ethical and social responsibility goals that are set within the company, or looking at the double bottom line, so you look at the financial health of the company, but also look at whether you're healthy in terms of social responsibility. And many companies actually prefer to self-monitor because it's easier for them to self-monitor and be ethical and to partake in social responsibility rather than to deal with activist groups, investors, unions, environmentalists, or government legislation. So self-monitoring is a huge aspect of this. All right, well, that's a brief overview of social responsibility and business ethics.